Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Anonymous, and here is his story. Hi, Ollie. I was just watching a 2010 documentary on YouTube called The Estate of Joan Crawford. Ooh. Those of you who don't know, Joan Crawford is who Mommy Dearest was about. True story about her adopted children, and, basically what it turns out to be is narcissistic abuse. And at the end is what I usually tell everybody what happens when you're dealing with wills and estates. They ended up getting cut out. And what Mommy Dearest was the daughters, actually both children, but I think it was primarily the daughter. Maybe the original Narcissism blog was that book and then the movie, Mommy Dearest, where they called out the narcissist and exposed her. I mean, that's really, and I've spoken about that before. So, let's see. It triggered me big time. That video should be entitled The Estate of a Super Narcissist and Super Borderline all rolled into one massive piece of shit. Right. Because those of you who don't know, she ended up, Joan Crawford, right? I mean, she was all about herself. She was all about her career. She stole a role, like a soap opera role, from her daughter, playing somebody I think like 30 years younger than she should have been. It was like a guest role. And then she went and she married, I think the head of Pepsi, PepsiCo. Just to make sure she'd be locked in and taken care of, and then ends up cutting her children out of the will, who she abused through childhood. No more wire hanger. That was one of my mother's favorite movies. Well, I never beat you with a wire hanger. Gee, thanks. Gee, thanks. She made me and one of the girls down the street, Danielle, watch this movie. She thought it was funny. My mother was like, you see, and she made me watch this. My mother made me watch Mommy Dearest repeatedly. The scene at the table where she would make her eat the blood red meat and then made her eat it cold for breakfast, and then the beating with the wire hanger and the throwing of the bathroom was disgusting, and she made her scour the bathroom with like Comet. And then when the brother tried to help, she's like, don't, because if she finds me, she'll kill you. She'll kill us both, or kill me, or kill us both. I remember reading Mommy Dearest decades ago. For those who don't know, it was about Joan Crawford and a family by one of her adopted daughters named Christina Crawford. I was struck by the way that Joan Crawford was described in this amazing book, because it reminds me so much of my father, right? Because it would. I mean, a lot of people can relate to that movie and to that book, because it is narcissism. It is personality disorders. It's the violence, the name calling, the unfairness, the shock to your system, and then to be discarded and thrown away after death. So many people can relate to that movie. Sorry I can't write this very well, because I just want to rant it out. I'm having a nausea episode. I'm very in touch with my rage now. Being in touch with my rage about my long-gone parents is very unusual for me, since I think I disassociate and suppress a lot. Not only rage, though, I suppress and dissociate all my emotions: grief, anger, fear, just to name a few. Fortunately, love and other good emotions often go out with the miserable emotions. Yeah. Look, growing up like that, if your father being like her or like my mother, the rage is overwhelming. And it seems you lost your parents long ago. Like you said, I'm just dealing with this, losing the first one now. And it stirs you up, and it brings that rage, and you get lost. I mean, I'm sure you lose hours of the day. Like, I found myself not being, like, I black out and can't remember, but I'm just dissociated. Like you say, you get dissociated, and you're off, and then you get caught up in these anger rages, which are completely righteous, by the way, which you are entitled to based on how you were abused and what we all went through. It is righteous anger. And it drowns out any good feelings and feelings of love and appreciation and just being able to live your life the way you want to live it. Just to be able to get up and have one normal day. One normal day. That's what I would like. And I don't say that, oh, pity me, pity all of us. But we don't get one day that's normal in our lives after this. Not one. Not one normal day. That's the gift of the narcissist. That's what they leave us with. So when you have these rages and these feelings of rage that people are telling you you're not entitled to, and you're a nut and you're crazy, because they haven't lived it. They don't understand what it's like to get up, to live every day of your life knowing that you're not going to have one normal day where you can just get up and live your life and not deal with this in some way, shape, or form. There's another video I have to recommend because it's so relevant. It is Self-Hate, the Most Dangerous Coping Mechanism. Don't hate yourself, and it is dangerous because hate them. This thing with forgiveness and all that, fuck that. They don't deserve. You don't forgive anybody who doesn't deserve to be forgiven. Because you know who you don't forgive for that? Yourself. You know if you're ready to forgive or not. It's not something you can force. It's just something that happens. And don't ever lie to yourself about it. And you don't have to forgive anybody who you don't feel deserves it 100%. That's up to you, and only you know if you forgive. And it's by Teal Swan. I just discovered that video a few weeks ago thanks to my life coach, who said that self-hate explains a lot why I have sabotaged my own life so thoroughly in so many ways. That was brand new information to me. I didn't get it very much until I Googled self-hate and watched this video several times over the course of several weeks. See, be very careful with labeling it self-hate. You may be angry at yourself for certain things, but you have no reason to hate yourself. The hatred is towards them. The rage is towards them. You know, when you have these rages that you can't verbalize and you can't explain, and it seems like you're repeating yourself, then the people throw at you, you're just full of self-hate. No. It's not self-hate. It's nobody can relate. Nobody can understand. Nobody can relate what I'm going through, and I have no outlet. I have no outlet to express myself where I feel like I'm being completely and totally understood and validated. So people want to label that self-hate. Be very careful labeling self-hate. Or even if you are giving yourself self-hate, it isn't. I don't think it's real. It's all a product of what your parents put you through. It's all a product of what they put you through. And it would be only natural, even if it was, every day. You don't have one normal day of your life. You're going to begin to hate everything, including yourself at that point. The self-hate isn't a natural reaction of narcissistic abuse. It's a result of years and years and years of nobody being able to understand you or relate to you and not having an outlet. So you just then internalize it in on yourself. Like, oh, why, it must be me. No, it's not you. It's not you. Unless somebody lived and understood what you went through, and I know a lot more of your story. Somebody who wasn't beaten and humiliated like that by their own parents, by their own father, is never going to understand, is never going to be able to relate to you. Never, never, never. And that is frustrating. Because it is difficult to find people like this that can actually relate to you. But that isn't self-hate. That is just years of pent-up frustration because you can't make that connection. These painful nausea episodes I frequently had since I was about 23 are probably caused, in large part, by some deep, unreachable self-hate or frustration. Nausea to me is nerves, not hate. When you get nauseous, it's because you're upset and you're nervous and you have anxiety. I wouldn't call that self-hate. I think you're still searching for somebody to understand you, for somebody to be able to relate to you. That's what you're searching for. That's the nausea. It's the frustration and the anger of not being able to live one day, one normal day. All you want, give me one. Give me one. Give me one where I don't think about any of this. Give me one where I don't think about any of this. Anything in my life, anything, my mother, my father, my entire upbringing, my ex-wife, my daughter. Give me one. It's never going to happen. That's where the nausea comes from. It's not because you hate yourself. Because you shouldn't hate yourself. About three months ago, I started hypnosis therapy in an attempt to find out more about my early childhood and also to hopefully get more in touch with my own feelings. I only went once a week for about 5 weeks before I was so upset I ended up in the ER again with heart issues. Damn, I thought I was getting over my racing heart issues, but too much stuff from my early childhood was being triggered and caused me to lose control of myself and do destructive things. It's hard to imagine these heart issues because the physical was so intertwined with the emotional. I would ask you when these heart issues started. I mean, the heart issues, it sounds like it's like a tachycardia type deal where your heart just races and races and races uncontrollably. And all of that is anxiety. All of that is frustration. All of it. So I stopped with the hypnotherapy and have been doing even less than normal activity for a few months, just trying to manage myself to not have a heart attack because a heart attack won't stop racing. Because a heart that won't stop racing is quick and sure path to a heart attack. This is just one aspect of my disaster fiasco that was directly caused by my borderline father and covert narc mother. Or maybe I'm in denial about the abuse or haven't figured it out enough yet. At the same time, I don't blame them. I just think life is all messed up, and they are, in fact, not very unusual according to planetary standards. Planetary standards, not American television sitcoms from the 50s and 60s. I just read a book called The Shepherd's Hut by a guy from a small town on the west coast of Australia. His description of normal families on the west coast of Australia sounds like some of the worst stories you've read. And I have a lot, and I've talked about this on the channel. Australia's fucked up. So is Europe and the UK. I have a lot of subscribers from Australia. A lot of subscribers from Australia. Like narcissism, this is part of the societal narcissism that I've been discussed. And I've said Europe, primarily the UK, Australia, Ireland, Scotland, they are probably about 30 to 40 years ahead of us in societal narcissistic abuse. That's why you see those societies basically spiraling out of control at this point. Everybody's angry. Look at the anger that you're seeing in society out on the street by people and not get just it's like anger is like the new way to relate to the world. Violent anger, destructive anger, anger at everybody, anger at the world. So you got a point. It isn't really outside the norm of what the society has set up the past 50, 60 years. This is the way society has been going. It still doesn't make it right. Still doesn't mean that you should get yourself so anxious and so worked up that you're putting yourself in the hospital with near heart attacks. Ollie, I'll be first to say that many of your videos have helped me enormously, and a huge thank to all the storytellers. I could go on and on about your videos and the stories people have sent in, but got to keep going while still in rant mode. There is one more video that I must recommend if the purpose of all this is to help ourselves and each other. This one is especially for persons who may find themselves unable to go no contact and forced to deal with abusive narcissists, although it is helpful for me, even though I've gone no contact from my abusers for about a year. It is the power of intentional disappointment and staying differentiated by Jerry Wise. Ugh, try to say that fast 3 times. The power of intentional disappointment and staying self-differentiated by Jerry Wise. Jesus, you could need a book just to the power of intentional disappointment. So you're intentionally disappointing yourself and staying self-differentiated. So basically, see, I don't understand. If you're intentionally I don't know if the book is about if you're intentionally disappointing yourself. I would imagine the power of intentional disappointment would be like what I've talked about, like what my father would do, the carrot at the end of the stick, where they know they promise you something that they're going to pull it away. And there's power in that. My father's favorite game. This video helps me because I'm very socially crippled. Social anxiety to the max, and this relates back to the self-sabotage based on the self-hate. But all this is new to me. Way too late to help with the family of origin, except for imaginary interactions with them, which can be useful to practice sometimes. I'm in old age now and still really struggling to figure out what the fuck happened to me. What did my parents do that messed me up so completely? Sure, I can figure out and remember a lot, but there is so much more still not figured out. Since your mom died, are you realizing and figuring out new stuff? What I am doing is I always knew her life was sad, but after reading that piss poor obituary, I realized how fucked up and how bad it was. What I can't get past with my mother is she wasted 71 fucking years of her life. 71 years of her life basically trying to obtain the power that her mother had over everybody. My mother was jealous of it. She wanted it. She wanted to be Virginia. She wanted that power. She needed it. And what fucking is just I can't get out of my head at this point. If she just would have been who she should have been, the artist pothead that she wanted to fucking be, we'd have been best friends. She could have had such a fucking fulfilling life. And she would have made more money than her family, my father's family, and my father could have made combined, because that's how talented she was. And she pissed it away trying to gain the quote-unquote power of her mother. The power of borderline personality, the power to control everybody through her narcissism. What a waste. That's how you need to look at your family, as they have wasted their fucking time for this power. Yeah, they have power over you. They had power over me. They had power over all of us. We're one fucking person, each and every one of us. If they just could have been fucking normal, at least try to have been normal, the power they could have had, the potential they could have had, is fucking mind-blowing. That's what eats me up. That's what eats you up. That's what's driving your fucking anxiety. The what ifs, the what ifs, the what ifs. And you got a lot of stuff blocked out, and you're searching for answers. And really, the best answer I could give you, man, is your parents wasted time seeking false power for nothing. You need to take a step back and look at everything you do have in your life, because you said you are an older age. You made it this far without them killing you. Don't go the way of them. Realize their power wasn't power at all. Anybody can bully a child. Anybody. It's weakness. I want to reference your video called Why We Can't Cover Up Narcissistic Abuse. One of your best videos, and that is saying a lot. Those old songs by Neil Young. This is why I can't blame my parents, no matter rage and hate I may. Sometimes I feel about thoughts and memories that have to do with them, because anyone can do very terrible and horrible things. Anyone can become a monster if they are hurting badly enough emotionally and or physically. As John Hudson said in the movie Chinatown, near the end of the movie, paraphrasing, most people are fortunate never to find this out. That is, never to find out that they could be a monster too. Actually, I can't remember what the fuck he said, but it was something along those lines. Anybody could be a monster. It's a choice. It's a choice. And this is my point with narcissism. They knew it was wrong because, listen, you know it's wrong. Are you smarter than they are? Do you have some ability they don't have? Do I have some ability that my parents do? Do all of us have some ability? No. We didn't do it to our children because you know it's wrong. Here you are seeking help. Hypnotherapy, therapists, hospitals, writing into my channel. The narcissist doesn't even care. You may not want to blame them, but blame them for their choices that they made. There weren't robots. There wasn't anybody, I gotta go beat my kid. I gotta go humiliate him on the front lawn. No. He was feeling like a fucking shitbag right there. And he saw you as an opportunity to boost his supply. Don't tell me he didn't know it was wrong. Of course he knows it's wrong. They all know it's wrong. If they didn't know it was wrong, they wouldn't fucking lie about it when we call them on it. Now, would they? I'm not and have never been an active member of any religious organization. Inactive, yes. Very, very inactive. If you had parents who forced religion up your ass and down your throat intravenously, and now you're an atheist who hates anything that has to do with religion, well, I'm very sorry about that. So if you're a parent struggling with rage or whatever emotions, just change the words to suit yourself. But maybe it might help you to listen to a video by Paul Tripp called Grace Libertades. Wait, Grace Libertades, Your Parenting. That's the name of the video. Grace Libertades, Leberates, Your Parenting. Even though I only discovered this video a few years ago, it has helped me more than anything else to not go crazy and abusive with my 2 kids. I could only listen to one YouTube video for the rest of my life. I would choose this one, period. Most narcissists don't care if they abuse their children. You do. I'm 68 years old and don't know how much longer my heart can put up with this turbulence, with no escape, because I'm too sick to do anything fun. Just to drive to the store has become a big deal. So I'm trying to put it all out there without sabotaging myself even more. Maybe my heart is strong because back decades ago, at one time when aerobics was all the rage, I did 4 90-minute crazy hardcore aerobics classes in a row. That was my record, although I often did 2 in a row. That was when I was... Okay, I'm sorry. That was when I was working for one of the big 24-hour fitness places on the graveyard shift. Just one of several dozens of low-life jobs that I quit or got fired from as the years of failure dragged by. And this stupid stunt was followed by about 3 days of 24-hour nausea. The first 12 hours of nausea was mixed with about 12 hours of vomiting, which was a normal experience for me until I became too old and didn't have the energy to throw up anymore. Vomiting is something you do. Your body's either going to vomit or not. I don't know if you get too old to vomit. See, as you get older, maybe you have different priorities. You see things a little differently, but it's all anxiety. I mean, you're 68 years old. And I'd be honest with you, I had no idea you were that old. I thought you were about my age, to be honest with you. I mean, that's what you sound like when I talk to you. I remember partially filling up the bathtub with vomit and looking at it with wonder, like I didn't eat anything and more stuff keeps coming up. This is true. I did that kind of stuff when I was skinny as a rail. Doctors might say I was throwing up bile or something like that. Really? I think it might have more to do with the stuff unknown to normal life. And Paul Tripp has another video about failure, which is useful to me because I'm a total failure in just about every way according to our societal standards. And now it is a real struggle every day not to add my children to a long list of complete and total failures. To end on a positive note, watch Empaths, You're Being Triggered Intentionally by Amanda Flaker. And to end on a really sweet note, watch her video called My 2-Minute Vision of a Loving World. Anonymous. You are way too hard on yourself. You are way too hard on yourself. And I know you're not the person that you're describing yourself to be. You're not. I know this Anonymous very well. This is 68 years of pent-up frustration of nobody being able to relate to you. 68 years of this. You have to stop calling yourself a failure. You have to stop beating yourself up over everything. Like, I don't know the full extent of your health. I don't know exactly what you've been diagnosed with or how much may or may not be psychosomatic. It seems like a lot of this is anxiety and psychosomatic, which is still real. You're still vomiting. You still have the racing heart. You're still not putting yourself in the hospital. And you're clearly not doing it for attention. I know you're not. I know how much you struggle with all this. I know you do. Don't put yourself in the hospital trying to figure out things that you already know and may not even matter. Here's where you are now. You're 68 years old. You have a family. You have children. You're calling yourself a failure. I don't see that. Because you went through a lifetime of narcissistic abuse, because you were basically raised by a Joan Crawford type who's out to hurt you, out to destroy you, out to hold you down. and your narcissistic abuse was so deep and it lasts so long that after 68 years you still think it's somewhat your fault, that you don't want to hold them accountable, it's societal. Well, it may be societal. They all still made a choice. All of them. I wish I could give you suggestions for your heart and your anxiety. All I will tell you is when you get like that, because you do have my number, call me. Call me. And we'll see if we can get through it. We'll see what it is. Maybe the answer is to get into it right when it's happening. And maybe we can stop it right there before it gets out of hand. So, I really hope that helped. Thank you so much for your contribution and your story, Anonymous. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, or a Facebook live chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you guys. Without you, all of this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been The Narcissistic Resistance.